Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning into these videos. Alright, so I want to go into the situation that's been happening. It's unfolding right now because it's right here. This happened yesterday. I guess there was a teen that was arrested in the Kenosha shooting, and he was promoting Blue Lives Matter. He posed with a firearm online. So I'm not going to really speak into the article, because I was watching this on NBC, and they're pretty much speaking on a very biased thing. Because as the thing was unfolding, I pretty much knew that it was Isaiah 19:2, Egyptian against Egyptian. They're in this news video. The lady was saying, it's pretty much it's one-sided. Well, what it is it's Egyptian against Egyptian. It's pretty much Esau versus Esau in this situation. There's not a good guy or a bad guy. Both of them are bad, and they're fighting each other. Because this pertains to prophecy. That's what's going to happen these last days. The love of many waxing cold. The sedition among men. And I got videos that they didn't show in the news of pretty much how they were pretty much both instigating this fight. Because ultimately the 17-year-old guy. He drove miles from his house to go to this thing with a rifle. And you're planning on using it in that situation. And you got people in the crowd, that the news reel pretty much didn't speak on them. They just said that they're innocent people who were getting shot. So I'm going to show clips of these people. And they were pretty much instigating the fight. And it's pretty much the spirit was, on the left-hand side working here on this crowd. So ultimately, there's a spirit of vengeance out there, and blood was pretty much going to be shed. So I'm gonna play parts of this clip. So what you're witnessing here is the sedition among men. The love of many waxing cold. It's pretty much prophecy, unfolding as we speak with all these riots. Like how Apostle Har said, there's not going to be a race riot, in the end times. It's pretty much going to be, an all-out war amongst the people. So that's what you're seeing here, because, you got pretty much two Edomites. They're pretty much, beefing in this situation. One on the opposing side and one on the other opposing side. And then you see this guy right here that I'm, circling around. He's the guy who got, shot in the head. After this situation. But I just wanted to show because, I didn't find that clip on, the mainstream media of the sedition among men, of the both contending sides are just, they're at wits with each other. So I'm going to show the clip of the instigating the fight here. And then you got Jake in the midst of this, and pretty much another thing too is the men of the Lord, like specifically here in Great Millstone, we have no part in being in these riots or whatever. Our job is to preach and prophesy and speak on these things. We're pretty much commentators in a sense, because we know that this isn't Yahweh Shai's kingdom, because if it was, we would fight for it. But this person, he's fighting for the Egyptian on the left side, against the Egyptian on the right side. So it's a lose-lose situation if you're fighting for either or of these sides. Like if you vote for Republican or Democrat, it don't matter who's going to be the next pharaoh, because Yahweh Shai the king is about to return. So this isn't really a peaceful protest. These people are defending a building because they know the people are going to go destroy it. That's why they brought their guns, because they wanted to, use their blessing, of their sword. And then these people over here, they're not protesting to cops or anything. They're protesting to people because they want to destroy things and they're in the way. So this is pretty much just a hodgepodge of, wickedness out here. It's Egyptian against Egyptian. And they have their Egyptian, their Egyptian ideologies that are conflicting, with each other. So this Edomite here, he's saying the N word. The one who got shot in the head. Then here you got the scene where they chased that young 17-year-old Edomite. And then he pretty much, in a sense, self-defense. Shot him off of him.
So between a certain part of a certain section of Black Lives Matter and maybe, I'm saying at least about 20 white dudes from Antifa, you can't get up close on the they just made an example out of that guy, and I'm trying to help him out. So the white dude I was just talking to, or whatever he is, right?
Let me skip ahead.
He just got his phone slapped. He got his phone slapped out on that and socked at the same time. So the orders you hear about yelling no cameras, them is white boys.
Sorry, this the perpetrator, who shed blood at that night, the 17-year-old Edomite.
Yeah, that's Antifa, man.
So angry mob is chasing him down.
Oh, we got a gun, baby. Oh, they shoot.
And for the rest of it, I'm not going to show the explicit scenes of this, because I don't want my video to get taken down. It's very easy to find. But I just want to show that, that it's not just a one-sided ordeal. What it is, it's Egyptian against Egyptian. I'm going to read this in Isaiah 19:2. It says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother." And that's what we're seeing going on right now. And it's been going on for a minute, because these prophecies, these plagues that are hitting America, they're coming, day in and day out. There's no breaks, no stops on the prophecies. And then continue on. It says, "And every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." So that's that all-out war that's going to be happening in these last days. And then I was trying to look for pictures. I didn't want to show that this is the guy who got shot in the bicep. It was very graphic. But then I wanted to show that this guy, was wearing a Baphomet mask. You can see very clearly that that's the Baphomet thing that that these satanic Edomites be repping. And also too is this guy is a so-called Jewish person. I just found that funny that you got pretty much he's an Edomite, an Amalekite to be exact, and he's over here repping Baphomet. And you could read this too, I guess he was a very criminalized person. He's an Edomite pretty much. Esau he should be the face of terror. This guy was chasing down a 17-year-old who technically shouldn't even be there in the first place with a gun. And he's not defending his property. Because if you look at the like the First Amendment, or I'm bad with these laws, but in the American laws, I believe it's one of the amendments is you're supposed to have a weapon so you can defend your property. And that guy didn't own that building. He was a 17-year-old kid. But nonetheless, it's Egyptian against Egyptian, and they were duking it, fighting each other. And this guy over here, so-called Jew, repping the Baphomet sign, and then he got shot in the bicep. But anyways, I want to read these in the prophecies, because this is what we're going to witness. We're going to witness this more and more and more. Ever since the George Floyd protests and riots, it's been happening, nonstop. You still got the whole cities like over there in Minneapolis, rioting every night, and it's not stop. It kind of slowed down, but then after what happened with after I forget the guy, because the whole reason this is happening again in this where everyone's out and about again, bringing their guns this time, is because the police were shooting a Jake named Jacob Blake, and then there was a whole different video and different scene. A lot of brothers already spoken about it, but this individual Jacob Blake, he went to his car and the cop shot him 8 times, so that's why people are rioting on the streets doing the BLM, this and that. It's pretty much they see that as an opportunity, to go out and be Egyptians to fight an Egyptian, pretty much. Whether it's Antifa, Proud Boys, alt-right, whatever, it's pretty much just Egyptian against Egyptian. But that's what the scriptures are speaking about these last days, is how it's going to look, is how it's going to go down. So I'm gonna read this in 2 Ezra 15, And we jump at verse 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." So one of the byproducts, or like the aftermath of these situations that are going on, is the elites are going to start rolling in. A lot of people are saying that some of these big boogaloo boys or whatever, they're agent provocateurs. And then on the Antifa side, like these guys wearing the Baphomet masks, being so-called Jews and whatnot. So there's agent provocateurs going at it against agent provocateurs. So it's all basically spiritual warfare at this point. And the men of the Lord got no part in being in the midst of this. All we do is we in the comfort of our homes or at the highways and hedges, is preach and prophesy and speak on these subjects, and then bring it back to the scriptures, because what's going on was pretty much spoken about in the scriptures. So anyways, I want to read this in verse 17 again. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." So all these things, whether this be a real false flag or a fake a fake incident or whatever, pretty much it's going to cause an effect. Like how the coronavirus is being utilized, whether if it's real or fake, and I believe it's a real disease out there, but it's being utilized, to control and manipulate the people. And so this thing right here is going to affect our daily lives. They're going to start, the government's going to start writing down more legislations. They're going to make it more harder for us to go, in and out of a city, because you got situations where, people are getting shot. The government's going to come in and mitigate it, and pretty much make it, even more hellish out there. That's why we say that martial law is going to happen. So verse 18 says, "For because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." So in these precepts that I've read already, and I got another one too. I'll read this real quick. Matthew 24 verse 12, it says that because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So within these precepts, it's pretty much playing a big story of how it's going to go down with these riots. You can call them race riots or whatever. Ultimately, it's Egyptian against Egyptian. Because I see everybody in the mix, but it's pretty much it's Esau versus Esau. It's because it's iniquity as reached an all-time high. It's 2020 year of prophecy. And these prophecies ain't stopping. So it's going to get worse and worse for everybody. Pretty much if you're not of the elect, you're going to be caught out there and getting shot. So I want to read this because, like I said, the men of the Lord, we don't have a part in, being out there. Our job is to pretty much, be on the highways and hedges, be a watchman, break down these scriptures, edify, comfort, and uplift the brotherhood, and, pretty much seek your own salvation first and foremost, and nothing here, being here in person is going to help you out in your walk in this ministry. So I want to read this in Ephesians 6 verse 10. It says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." So this is a spiritual warfare we're dealing with. We don't have to go there and take up arms or whatever. Because as you can see, there's a lot of fake stuff going on. Well, pretty much what it is, it's really a spiritual warfare that's going on. Whether these are paid actors or whatever, it's still real. You got guys over here with guns shooting them. This is on the news, so it's as real as it's going to get. So reading again, it says, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So we're supposed to pretty much, step back from those riots, in those cities when there's going to be martial law troops out there, because we're going to be like as pilgrims in these last days, and we're seeing the beginning of that happening right now. You're seeing, all the distress amongst nations, the love of many waxing cold, Egyptian against Egyptian, so the men of the Lord, we got to hold on to this truth. and the truth pretty much speaks against, being out there like that. I'll finish off in Ephesians 6:13 says, "Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all to stand." And the whole armor, like the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith. So if I get them wrong, but you get the idea. You're supposed to have all this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, so that you're stable in these last days. And that includes, pretty much, reading the scriptures to know that this ain't your fight. Because I could read it here. This is in John 18:36. Says, Yahushai answered, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence." Because we know that we're seeking the kingdom to come. We're chanting down Babylon. So our spiritual power that we have right now is that we could use this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and then pretty much, prophesy into the wind to the nations, to everybody, whether they hear or forbear. And that's pretty much, that's actual, the spiritual weapon that we're using that's destroying Babylon. We don't have to go there and, and help either or side, pick an Egyptian side that you want to, no, we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to continue preaching and prophesying until those last days. So that's in this video. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash, and Shalom Akim.